I'm talking about my guitar. Now the old guitar, it's got a tune, it's got a tone like howling at the moon. When you play that guitar, well, the music comes from near and far. Hello folks, I want to sing you some songs today from a time that David Grisman and I had a band together called the Earth Opera. I had just left the Bill Monroe band after 2.5, 3 years as a bluegrass boy. I left in March of '68. Our last show was at Whitey's Lounge in Baltimore. And you can find that on the internet. It's pretty amazing, actually. It's a highly charged show, and Bill did his famous departing band member trick, which was to drop his pick on the stage and ask you to pick it up, which meant you had to bend down at his feet and bow your head and pick up his pick off the stage. And I did it. And I was back in Massachusetts, 1968. David Grisman had just come back from the West Coast, where he had been recording with Jerry Garcia on Working Man's Dead, I believe, at that time. And he had made the acquaintance with Jerry anyway, and we were going to be, of course, destined to play together. So Dave Grisman and I and our ladies rented a house in Brookline, Massachusetts, from Mitch Greenhill's wife's mother. It was an old, I guess you'd have to say a mansion, but it had been a rooming house, and it had like 26 bedrooms. And it was just us mad 60s hippies wandering about in that big old mansion. But we listened to a lot of music. One thing I would say, David Grisman is a wonderful person to listen to music with. He really hears a lot, and it makes you hear more in the music when you listen to him. Because David will just look at you and go, like, yeah, yeah. And so we listened to a lot of John Coltrane, Eric Dolphy, Charlie Mingus, a wonderful Indian singer named Subbalakshmi. And I had written these songs down in Nashville while I was a bluegrass boy, the songs that became an album that David Grisman and I made called Earth Opera. And Earth Opera was meant to be a voice of humanity. So I'd like to play you some Earth Opera. It's hard to say Earth Opera, but I'd like to play you some Earth Opera songs on this beautiful old Martin that I got around that time. to those mysterious yesteryears. The days of the Earth Opera. Can you open up the skies? Can you answer all the lies? Do you ever look upon her face with upturned eyes? Take a stick across the picket fence post of your mind and wonder of a time when love was blind and you were full of wonder. How long has it been since you've cried and kicked the autumn leaves aside and laughed through your tears at the passing of our years? Let the laughter howl and scream. We're players in an ancient dream of a time when love was blind and you were full of wonder. Can you open up the skies? Can you answer all the lies? Do you ever look upon her face with upturned eyes? Take a stick across the picket fence post of your mind and wonder of a time when love was blind and you were full of wonder. How long has it been since you've cried and kicked the autumn leaves aside and laughed through your tears at the passing of our years? Let the laughter howl and scream. We're players in an ancient dream of a time when love was blind and you were full of wonder. Of a time when love was blind and you were full of wonder. Another Earth Opera song here. This one's called As It Is Before, with a nod to Samuel Beckett for part of the inspiration, and for Leslie for turning me on to Samuel Beckett. And you sell yourself so short every time you look at her and never dare to cross the line. Why is it In writing the Earth Opera songs, I did most of that writing while I was still a bluegrass boy playing with Bill Monroe. And everything in bluegrass is so high-keyed and strict tempo, very up-tempo, a lot of it. And my natural bent is towards sort of a laid-back kind of down by the river, watching the river flow, summer day kind of feeling. And a lot of my memories of childhood, being down in the summertime after these long winters, first of all in the spring, hearing the whippoorwills sing outside my window up there in Massachusetts. We'd have some beautiful days. Some of the best days in New England are the days when the winter ice wasn't even melted, but the meadow was flooded, and you could walk on part of it, and then you had to wear hip boots because the ice would break. You'd go in up to above your knees, and it was just so exciting. The brook, we had a brook down there that when I was little, I was not allowed to go to, but to have that stream running through our property was a kind of a magic touchstone of changes in the weather. In the seasons, in the winter, there'd be this transparent ice on top of the brook, and you could still see through to the light reflecting off the bottom, off the iron pyrite in the bottom of the brook, the sort of golden glow coming up through the water. The brook had a life of its own, and it was always exciting to go see the seasons change, because to go up into the hills, you would walk across the brook on the old bridge made of railroad ties. And in the summertime, of course, there'd be dragonflies everywhere down there, and sounds of frogs. In the spring, the peepers. And so this was my background in New England. And although I had the north-facing room, I became very sensitive to anything that promised warmth. And that's sort of been part of my life. The song Angels and Animals sort of harkens to those feelings back in growing up in Wayland, Massachusetts. Bill Monroe was 55 years old, and his manager, Ralph Rinsler, who was also the instigator of the Smithsonian Folklife Festival and Folklife Department at the Smithsonian, which was to honor the arts and crafts and music of our roots music of America, of all races. And Ralph was starting to become more involved with Doc Watson, and he made a career choice to work for the Newport Folk Festival and help bring roots musicians up there, mostly from the South. And I was living down in Nashville at that time, Nashville, Tennessee, and Ralph asked me if I would be Bill Monroe's manager. What he really meant was, would I be sort of a road manager? But we didn't know what road manager was in those days, so I became Bill's, quote, manager, which was really, I'd have to say, a mind fuck in general, to try and be a sort of manager of Bill Monroe. I mean, those two words don't go together. Manager of Bill Monroe. That is not a descriptive clause that has any reality. And so in my book, I'll be talking more about the ins and outs of that responsibility. But because I was so involved in Bill Monroe, and every night had to, you'd drive the bus during the day along with the other bluegrass boys, except Richard Green, who claimed he didn't have his license. Smart move. But we would drive the bus and we get to the show, and then you had to get up on stage. Now, yeah, you have a lot of energy when you're 22 years old, and a lot of willpower to do this thing, which is affording you to play music of the highest caliber. And but stand up with Bill Monroe shoulder to shoulder every night, and lean into him and sing those harmony duets and everything. So, I mean, it lit a fire in me to write my own songs and find my own voice. And several of them were bluegrassy type of things. So my own songs, when I started writing them, like Full of Wonder, As It Is Before, you know, I was kind of not thinking in the bluegrass box. I was just sort of, you know, reminiscing in my own childhood. I used to sit and listen to the slowly falling rain and draw my knees up to my chin and see your face again. The fire used to cast such frightened shadows on the wall as time eased slowly by me from the clock down in the hall. And the blind men making faces as you spin and walk away, they stagger staring at the nothingness of what you used to say. Love is blushing, love is blushing, madly searching for a place to be alone, to make account of what you've taken and what really is your own. I used to sit and listen to the slowly falling rain and draw my knees up to my chin and see your face again.